Why do you still feel like you're always short on money, even though you don't spend lavishly? You don't live extravagantly, you don't make impulsive purchases, and you've even cut out unnecessary expenses. Yet by the end of each month, your bank account is nearly empty. And the most exhausting part isn't the lack of money, it's that sinking feeling of helplessness. What am I doing wrong? The truth is, many middle-aged Americans are trapped in a financial loop not because they're lazy or irresponsible, but because they were never taught how to use money the right way. Money isn't just for spending, it's meant to create freedom, happiness, and peace of mind. You don't need to earn more, you just need to understand more. And if you've ever asked yourself, how can I live without constantly worrying about money? Then don't look away from this video. Because what's coming next may be exactly the answer you've been searching for. 1. What would the person I admire do? The invisible mentor mindset. In today's world where nearly every financial decision can shape your long-term future, having a trusted advisor is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. But not everyone has access to a personal finance expert or a life coach. That's why more and more middle-aged Americans are turning to a simple yet powerful tool: the mindset of an invisible mentor. Imagine carrying a trusted advisor with you every single day. No fees, no complicated systems, just one guiding question. What would the person I admire do in this situation? Imagine someone you genuinely respect, maybe a financial expert, a savvy investor, someone who lives simply but successfully, or even a character you once read about in a book. That person doesn't have to be physically present, but whenever you face a decision, you pause and ask yourself, how would they choose? What's remarkable is that this one simple question helps you step out of autopilot, out of emotional spending, and into more intentional, clear-headed, and wise choices. In practice, many people have dramatically changed their financial lives using this exact principle. They create a mental list of advisors for different areas of life: finance, health, relationships, personal growth. And whenever they're about to make a decision, buying something, signing up for a service, spending impulsively, they pause and ask, what would the person I admire do right now? Let's say you're thinking about upgrading your phone, even though your current one works just fine. In that moment, rather than being swept away by the feeling of, I deserve it, you stop and ask, would someone who's built lasting wealth spend money on this? That question might make you hesitate. Or it might lead you to redirect that money into something that actually grows, like an investment instead of a depreciating asset. And this mindset doesn't stop at spending. It reshapes how you invest, how you manage your time, even how you care for your health. A person you admire for their well-being wouldn't skip breakfast. They wouldn't delay their walk. They wouldn't sacrifice sleep just to work more hours. When you put yourself in their shoes, you're far more likely to make the right choice, not just the easy one. The secret lies in repetition. The more you ask this question, the more your brain learns to think like the people you admire. Over time, making wise choices doesn't feel like a struggle. It becomes second nature. And most importantly, you don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to be honest with yourself and open to learning from those who've gone before you. In a consumer-driven world where every day comes with hundreds of messages urging you to spend, having an invisible mentor is one of the best ways to reclaim your power. It's how you begin building a life that feels more free, more intentional, and more aligned with who you want to be financially and spiritually. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know who to learn from. And remember, sometimes one simple question can save you from years of costly mistakes.
2. $1 equals $88. Compound interest isn't just a theory, it's a disappearing opportunity. We often think that securing a stable financial future requires a major head start, a large sum of money, a high-paying job, or a bold investment move. But in reality, the most powerful asset isn't money, it's time. And no principle proves this more clearly than compound interest, one of the most fundamental yet underestimated rules in personal finance. Imagine this: if you invest just $1 at age 20 with an average annual return of 10%, by the time you're 65, that $1 could grow into $88. That's nearly a 90-fold increase, not because of magic, but because of math. And that math quietly works, day after day, for anyone who starts early. But the later you start, the more the results diminish. That same $1 invested at age 30 only grows to about $33 by 65. And if you wait until age 40, it drops to less than half of that again. Same amount of money, same return rate, but drastically different outcomes, all because of time. And this is exactly what leaves many middle-aged individuals feeling disheartened. They look back and wish they had started earlier. The regret is real, it's heavy, and it's common, especially past 40, when life becomes more financially demanding, kids need support, health requires more attention, and retirement suddenly doesn't feel so far away. But here's the truth. It's not too late. Compound interest doesn't ask for large sums of money. It only asks for consistency and the willingness to take action. Investing even $100 a month at age 45 or 50 is still better than doing nothing. The numbers may not be as dramatic as if you'd started younger, but the psychological shift is just as powerful. Because the moment you start saving and investing, you no longer feel helpless. You feel in control. You can begin with a retirement account, like an IRA or Roth IRA, a brokerage account, or a low-cost index fund, such as the S&P 500. You don't need to be a financial expert. You just need to commit every month, even if it's a small amount. And here's the most fascinating part. Compound interest doesn't only apply to money. It's a principle of life. A small action, repeated daily, can lead to extraordinary results over time. Just like working out, reading, eating better, or learning a new skill, all of these rely on slow, steady accumulation. Success, health, happiness, and wealth don't come from one big breakthrough. They come from consistent, smart choices repeated over and over again. So if you've ever said, "I wish I had known this sooner," then let today be the earliest remaining day of your life. You can't change the past, but you absolutely can change your financial trajectory, starting with one small step right now. Don't let another year go by with nothing different. Let your future self, 10 or 20 years from now, look back with gratitude because you chose to begin today. Compound interest doesn't care if you're early or late. It only works for those who start. And the best part is, you can start right now.
3. Clean up your fixed bills. Start with the smallest things. Many people enter middle age with a familiar, frustrating feeling. They're earning more than ever before, yet they don't feel any richer. It's as if every dollar earned already has somewhere to disappear. Phone bills, memberships, streaming services, app subscriptions, credit card charges, and all those small daily spending habits that quietly add up. What's most concerning is that most of these expenses happen silently. They don't sting like a big purchase. They're not alarming enough to set off warning bells. But over time, these little things steadily eat away at your wallet. The good news? You don't need a complex financial strategy to make a change. Sometimes a big breakthrough starts with something incredibly small, like reviewing your fixed monthly expenses. Take your cell phone bill, for example. Many Americans are still paying $80 to $120 a month for calls and data, even though there are alternatives on the market, like Mint Mobile, Visible, or Tello, offering similar quality service for just $15 to $30 a month. Now imagine saving $80 a month just by switching carriers. That's nearly $1,000 a year. And if that money is invested instead of spent, over 10 or 20 years, it could grow into something substantial, thanks to the power of compound interest. Then there are online subscriptions, the hidden money drainers few people pay attention to. Many households today are subscribed to anywhere from 5 to 10 streaming platforms: Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, YouTube Premium, Spotify. But ask yourself, do you really use them all each month? What about that language learning app you haven't opened in weeks? Or the fitness program you meant to follow but never started? Or the photo editor you subscribed to once and then forgot about? Each of these may only cost $5 or $10 a month, but together they could quietly add up to over $100 every month without you noticing. Also, take a closer look at your credit card and bank account fees. Many people pay hidden charges like paper statement fees, out-of-network ATM fees, foreign transaction fees, little things that, when ignored, end up costing you for services that bring zero value to your life. The key here is awareness and intention. Set aside a Saturday morning. Sit down. Review every recurring payment. Cancel what you don't use. Downgrade what you don't need. Negotiate what you can. You'll not only save money, you'll reclaim a sense of control. And that feeling is priceless, especially for those in midlife who've lost it somewhere along the way. That feeling of living intentionally instead of being swept away by the momentum of consumption. Saving doesn't mean you're living less. It means you're choosing more intentionally, prioritizing the things that truly matter: your health, your happiness, your relationships, your personal growth. A cheaper phone plan won't steal your joy. Making your own coffee in the morning won't kill your comfort. But those small, mindful choices, repeated over time, could save you thousands of dollars each year. Money you can redirect to things that actually enrich your life, your well-being, your family, your future. So if your wallet always feels lighter than it should, and you're not sure why, the answer might not be in the big purchases. It could be hidden in the small habits, quietly repeated every day. All it takes is a fresh look, a small shift, and you'll see you don't need to earn more to feel abundant. You just need to stop letting your money slip away unnoticed.
4. Turn addiction into strength. If you can't stop watching, choose what helps you grow. In a world overloaded with stimulation, where every phone notification is designed to make you click, scroll, and keep consuming, it's incredibly hard to stop. You're not alone. Most of us have at least one hard-to-break habit: binge-watching entertainment, endlessly scrolling social media, online shopping, or constantly checking the news. But here's the truth. The problem isn't that you're addicted to these things. The real issue lies in how you use that addiction. Instead of forcing yourself to quit those familiar behaviors altogether, try a different approach. Replace the content. If you can't stop watching YouTube, switch to channels that teach personal finance, health, or self-development. If you always listen to podcasts, choose shows that inspire growth, whether that's investing, mindset, or learning new skills. Research shows that the content you consume daily slowly but surely shapes your thinking, your emotions, and your behavior. In other words, your input determines your output. If you constantly expose your mind to ideas about success, positive thinking, saving, and investing, your brain will gradually rewire itself toward those goals. You don't need a radical overhaul. Someone who walks 30 minutes a day while listening to financial podcasts will, over time, understand money better than 90% of the population. Someone who swaps background music for an audiobook on mindset will start to think differently, live differently, and spend differently. Look around. Many successful people didn't start with money or privilege. They started by redirecting their attention. They became addicted to learning, addicted to growth, addicted to getting better each day. You don't have to become perfectly disciplined. You just need to adjust your direction. If you're already watching videos, choose the right videos. If you always have a podcast playing while you drive, pick the ones that feed your financial, emotional, or spiritual growth. These tiny shifts, repeated over time, can completely reshape the trajectory of your financial and personal life. That way, you're not fighting against yourself. You're leveraging what already comes naturally, just in a way that serves you. There's nothing wrong with needing entertainment or relaxation. But don't let all your screen time become passive consumption. Carve out at least a part of it to nurture your knowledge, reinforce your values, and build a wealthier version of yourself, in every sense of the word. Because what you feed your mind daily doesn't just affect your wallet. It shapes your health, your mindset, your relationships, and your ability to take control of your life. So choose to be addicted to the things that help you grow. In today's world, you can't stop being influenced, but you can absolutely choose what influences you. And that choice is entirely in your hands.
5. Time is more valuable than money. The $60 an hour rule that changed how I spend every minute. When we're younger, it's easy to trade time for a few dollars. Standing in line to save $5, driving across town for a minor discount, or spending hours hunting for deals seems perfectly reasonable. But as we enter midlife, the value of time becomes clearer than ever. You realize money can be earned again, but time, once gone, never returns. That's why more and more people are adopting a new mindset in how they spend, the $60 an hour rule. Instead of looking at a purchase and thinking, this only costs $10 or $20, try asking a deeper question. How much time did I trade to afford this? If you value your time at $60 an hour, a realistic income goal for many professionals, then spending $30 is like burning 30 minutes of your life. Not because you shouldn't spend money, but because every dollar comes from something far more precious, your time. This mindset isn't about being overly strict with yourself. It's about developing a sharper awareness of the trade-offs behind everyday decisions. For instance, many people wait 20 minutes in line to save $5 on an item. Seems smart on paper, but at $60 an hour, those 20 minutes are worth $20. That cheap item actually cost you $25, not $5. The $60 an hour rule helps you see time-wasting habits in a whole new light. 1 hour of aimless social media scrolling is worth $60 lost to distraction. 30 minutes arguing online is $30 and unnecessary stress. 45 minutes driving just to save $3 is not worth it. But what if you reinvest that same time? What if those 30 minutes go into reading a book, learning a new skill, listening to a financial podcast, or having a meaningful conversation with your partner or kids? Then you're no longer spending time, you're investing it. This mindset leads to 2 powerful questions you can start asking yourself daily. Is this worth $60 of my time? Could I be doing something else with this time that would create long-term value? The answer doesn't always have to be no. You can still enjoy life, spend, relax, or indulge, but when you know your time has value, you spend it more intentionally. Even more important, this mindset elevates your sense of self-worth. When you start believing your time is worth $60 an hour, you naturally begin acting like it. You seek better opportunities. You stop settling. You pursue growth. And gradually, your income catches up to your new standard. Because the truth is, high earners aren't necessarily smarter. They've simply learned to value and use their time more effectively. Time is the one asset you can never buy back, so protect it. And starting today, begin spending every minute as if you fully understand just how valuable it really is.
6. A new identity. I'm no longer a spender. I'm someone who's in control of my life. Have you ever called yourself bad with money? Ever sighed after another unnecessary purchase and thought, this is just who I am? If so, you're not alone. Many people in midlife carry that same weight of frustration, not because they can't earn money, but because they feel like they're constantly losing control over small, seemingly harmless choices. But here's something you may have never been told. What you believe about yourself eventually becomes your truth. If you keep telling yourself, I'm reckless with money, I'll never get better at this, or it's just how I am, you're subconsciously reinforcing an identity that's no longer serving you. Not because you lack the ability to change, but because your mind is stuck replaying an old script. This is who I am. The good news? That script can be rewritten, and you are the one holding the pen. Identity, who you believe you are, isn't something fixed. It's something you build through small, repeated actions. You don't wake up one morning suddenly disciplined or financially wise. You become that person through habits you reinforce every day. Every time you say no to buying something unnecessary, you're sending a message to yourself. I know how to choose wisely. Every time you brew your own coffee instead of buying it out, you're telling your brain, I value financial priorities. Every time you choose to watch a useful video or listen to a podcast instead of doom scrolling, you're affirming, I want to grow. Each one of those actions is a vote for your new identity. And over time, the more votes you cast, the more you start to believe, I'm no longer a spender. You become someone who's intentional, someone who knows what really matters, someone who doesn't chase fleeting satisfaction, but builds a life with purpose, depth, and direction. And the best part? You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to repeat one right action often enough until it becomes who you are. People often think wealth begins with a high income, but it actually begins with a mindset of control. Someone who earns $10,000 a month but spends it all is no better off than someone who earns $2,000. On the other hand, someone who spends smart, controls impulse, and delays gratification for greater goals, that's someone truly building freedom. It's the difference between spending to feel valuable and using money as a tool to live in line with your values. When you live by your values, you no longer need new clothes, lavish trips, or external praise to feel whole. You start feeling proud because you're living with intention. A new identity doesn't come from perfection. It comes from consistency, from choosing right again and again and again. Eventually, you're no longer trying to change. You have changed. And you'll realize the feeling of taking back control of your life is not just satisfying, it's deeply worth it. If you've ever thought it's too late for you, know this, you're not alone. And sometimes just one small shift today can create a future that looks entirely different. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. What's the first habit you want to change? Drop a comment below, because no one should walk this financial journey alone. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's so much more ahead.